YouTube, what up? It's your homie Greg B. And today's episode of Let's Talk About It, we IRL. And I just want to talk about playing JP. I've been playing JP for 2 weeks now. And let me tell you, the way people try to play against JP is crazy. It's just nonstop guerrilla style tactics all day. You get a knockdown, I'm drive rushing in. You get a hit, I'm jumping again. You hit me with a spike, I'm jumping again. No matter what you do, I'm at your neck. And they just keep coming back for more. And it's crazy. I don't understand, why people play like that against JP. The players I have the hardest time dealing with are the ones that are patient. They willing to sit there in a range that's outside his strike zone of his standing medium punch, not standing heavy punch, his standing medium punch, because that's his best poke. It's not cancelable, but they stand right outside that range. You can't throw ghosts, you can't spike, you have to play neutral. And if you force JP to play neutral, he actually not that good. All his buttons are slow as shit. And it's really tough to deal with people in that area. But what do people do? They back all the way back up, full screen, and then drive rush at you. And it's crazy. And they think that shit's gonna work. And then they get frustrated and be like, oh, JP is broken. JP do got some nice air conversions and things like that, but for the most part, his neutral game really ain't that good, man. Standing heavy punch is like 12 frames. His best standing button, I think, is standing light kick. That's 5 frames. His standing light punch is 6 frames. His only 4-frame button is crouch and light punch. Like, bruh, it's not good. It's not good at all. He wants to zone you. You only helping him by backing up full screen, trying to drive rush in. You got to stay in the pocket with him, and I'm seeing that now playing JP. But outside of that, he a fun character. I get to see a lot of his shit is fake. He honestly is pretty susceptible to DI as well. I didn't realize that before, but I am now. Again, because his cancelable normals, they're not that good. Like I said, standing heavy punch is 12 frames. Standing medium punch or standing medium kick is like 7 or 8 frames, I think. And then crouching medium punch is 7 frames, but the range on it is really low. So, it's honestly, it's not really like a good button. We out here in Cleveland, and I just wanted y'all to see, man, this is my home, this is where I'm from, and, this is where I train for Street Fighter, and I'm looking to get to the point where I can compete in tournaments. And, I also want to talk about improving overall, and I found some success. And part of it's probably MR inflation, but I've been taking characters to high master more consistently and fairly quickly. And but I do know my gameplay has improved overall because I'm beating better players as well. You know, I'm not just getting in mar on people that are worse than me. I'm beating better players, and I'm understanding how to develop characters quicker. And a couple things I've realized that, you know, one, you know, you need to know your anti-airs. You need to know your conversions off of, you know, hits, counter hits, and punish counter hits. You also need to know your corner combos for when you get wall stuns. Defensive options is the one thing I've realized outside of a few character-specific things, the defensive options are going to be the same for the characters that you play. You know, dealing with some of the gimmicks, the character you play may have an option or two to deal with their gimmicks specifically, but for the most part, you know, dealing with strike throws, dealing with shimmies, you know, every character has an option to deal with that. You just need to know which one that is. For example, dealing with shimmy, almost every character has a button, a far-reaching normal that can put them in block stun when they try to shimmy you. It's 9 times out of 10 though, it's not gonna be jab. If you're lucky it is, but for the most of the time, it's not gonna be jab. So, you know, you wanna make sure that you're not mashing jab when people try to shimmy you. And, you know, I could go into that whole thing about defensive options. I'm not gonna do that now. I just wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, improving. And, you know, I really think that the biggest part, you know, is playing better competition and really focusing on, you know, the type of stuff that you're doing when you're playing better competition. Like, don't focus so much on getting the win. Focus on finding things that you can do and I guess I want to say repeatably. You know, you can do this over multiple times. You know, because they have flaws too. They're not the best, because if they were the best, you see them win tournaments and shit. And even the people that are winning tournaments don't win all of them. So, you know, everybody has weaknesses, and if you could just find one weakness, it may not win you the match, but it's something to build off of. And then, you know, removing your weaknesses and flaws. If they are doing something over and over, it's probably because they see the flaw in what your gameplay is, and you need to adjust. Whether that be, you know, losing the neutral jump, or, you know, getting shimmied, or whatever that may be. So, you know, focus on what they're doing to you repeatedly, and learning how to break those habits. And then if you see something where they have a flaw, maybe they're doing a block string that's not real. You know, you might not know that till you watch the replays later, or maybe they're doing something like, maybe after a certain sequence, they backdash every time, or neutral jump, or at a certain range, they forward jump every single time. That's something that you can exploit, and, you know, focus on that. And then you identify whether or not you're losing to gimmicks, or are you losing to neutral, because those are two very different things. There's a lot of times people can beat you and you're just losing the gimmicks. You know, they ain't necessarily good. You just don't know how to deal with the gimmicks. So pay attention to that. Are you losing the gimmicks, or are you losing the neutral? So play better players, focus on what it is you're losing to, and make sure you know your offensive structure. Again, your light conversions, your punish counter conversions, your counter hit conversions, your conversions into your super arcs, your stun combos when you wall stun them in the corner. And if you do those 3 or 4 things, you can develop a character pretty quickly. And then after that, you're playing a different game. You know, now you have to learn how to read the player and adjust to their strategy as they're actively trying to read and adjust to your strategy. Assuming they're trying to do that. They may not be. They might just try to be a gorilla and force their strategy on you the entire time without adapting to you. in which case, if you make your adjustments, they shouldn't be able to beat you, you know. But that's just my thoughts. Again, I'm just a lowly player. I've only taken characters to High Master, but I've played, probably 75% of the cast. I've taken quite a few characters to High Master, a lot of characters to Master before that. And I've been this is my first Street Fighter where I've tried to improve and get to a high level. And, other than watching videos on YouTube and reviewing my own gameplay, I'm not like getting coaching or anything like that. I just teach it myself how to play this game. And, I do think it's possible. And I think if I can do it, you can too. So let's grind, let's learn together. Y'all take it easy. Greg B signing out. Peace.